I remember the very first time that I went to Manila to say thank you to my team. We had been in business for about 2 years as IA Blueprint. We had a great team over in the Philippines. I had a couple of people that were in my leadership team, just a few at the time, but we had over about 50 employees that were assigned to different clients. And I wanted to just go and tell them thank you. They worked very hard, and I knew that they had other options of other businesses they could work for, but they were willing to pick us. And we still had the same 50 people that we started off with over that period of time. And I just was very appreciative. So I wanted to go during Christmas time and just have a banquet for them to tell them, hey, I thank you. I wanted them to see me face to face and meet me as well. So I set up this appreciation dinner, but what my expectations were versus the reality was very different. I thought I was just going there to tell them thank you, but what I received, I was blown away. The amount of gratitude and the extents that I saw that they went through to show me how genuinely excited and grateful they were was way more than what I could offer to them. So I remember the very first moments whenever my wife and I got there. We were at the restaurant. We rented out part of a restaurant to, so we could have all the employees there. Because 50 people is a lot of people, not to mention me and Beth, so 52 people there. So we needed a big area. We were able to rent out a restaurant to have everybody. Well, my leadership team, 3 people at the time, got there before me because they helped arrange everything and took care of that for us. And we got there, greeted them, and just talked for a little bit. And then, the other employees started coming in, and so my wife and I would go and greet them, and what happened then was just completely unexpected. We just noticed this trend, like they would come in, they'd be so excited to meet us. They knew who my wife was from, stalking us on Facebook. But we're so excited to see us, and that they just embraced us and just said, thank you so much, for the opportunity to work with you. I didn't know if this was part of the culture or not, but then it was again and again and again. And we kept on hearing these stories of where they would come, tears in their eyes, so excited to see us and to meet us and to tell us thank you. And then we would just talk because, in Manila, the traffic is horrendous, like the worst I've seen anywhere in the world so far that I've been. So we'd ask, well, how was the drive? I know the traffic's terrible. And, and time after time, these people, it drove 3 hours, 2-3 hours one way to come and see me, to tell me thank you, and to have a meal with me. It was touching to me that they traveled that far. This one poor girl, young lady, she rode on the back of a motorcycle for 3 hours, one way, to come and tell me thank you and to eat with me. It was very humbling to have so many people to be touched by what we do, that I wasn't ready for that. 2 stories that really changed me the most, thinking through this. One of them was Hannah, who's my head VA. She first started actually in my insurance agency. I own an insurance agency as well as also IA Blueprint. And I needed an employee and came across Hannah and hired her for an entry-level position. Well, I learned later, especially during this trip, that I had hired her from a competitor in a lead position. And I remember when I first hired her, where she lived, and that she's moved to a much better place now. When I first hired her, she didn't have air conditioning. I remember we'd work, we'd have these Zoom calls and we'd talk and whatever, and she'd have these fans blowing her hair because it was hot. And I remember her moving from there to getting air conditioner to get a better place that she lived in. And she was moving from a managerial level role to an entry level role with me. It showed me that we were doing something special for these people, really giving them an opportunity. Another story that touched me was we were there, and one of the people that was there, pulled me aside and said, "Bo, I don't think you understand when we say thank you how much we really mean it, and what you've done for us." And and said that, hey, I have a friend that's a doctor. I make what they make working for you. And it helped me to open my eyes to see how we're helping people to get themselves up out of poverty to become a new middle class in the Philippines. So it was pretty amazing. And, I just did not know that, that we were having that effect. Another employee that came, Elijah is his name, and he does technology and stuff like that for me. He was running a little bit late because he rode a bus. I mean, he can't help the bus at the time, but he got there. I was really excited to see him. He was super excited to see me too. And I had brought him a couple of hats. He wanted a hat from Reed Insurance, my insurance agency, as well as I Blueprint. So I brought him. He likes wearing caps, so I brought him too. I decided to give him to him. And we were just talking, chit-chatting and stuff. And I said, well, when did you leave? And he told me a time that he left from home. And I was like, wait a minute. I did real quick math. Like, it was 8 hours ago. I said, yeah, it was about an 8 hour ride on the bus. 8 hours. I said, Elijah, you gonna spend the night tonight? And he said, no, I'm just gonna, eat, and then I'll get back into the bus and I'll go back home. And I couldn't believe it. This guy was riding 16 hours to visit with me. And he shared this story with me too, that, I knew that his mom had been sick and that she had battled cancer the year before. And he's very close to his mom, very close to his family. And he told me, he says, look, I want to tell you about something. He says, I've bought some land. I said, hey, that's great, Elijah. I'm proud of you to be able to do that. What are you going to do with the land? He said, well, I want to build a home. I want to have a family. And he said, I'm going to bring my mom and my dad into the home too. And he says, nobody in my family's ever owned anything. But because of you, we're able to have this, and just, I got tears in my eyes whenever he told me that. And I'm just so proud of him and so proud of what we do to help them, because he's a fantastic member of the team, incredibly intelligent, very gifted, but he just didn't have an opportunity. So we give him an opportunity. We also give him hope. And that's amazing to think that you give people an opportunity that don't have one, and you give them hope that just otherwise didn't have hope. But what it also helped prove to me is that, that every employee represents a family. The leadership decisions that I make, ripples into every one of their homes. By me valuing people, it helps to drive the teamwork and also the retention that we have. I mean, we have over 90% retention even today with our employees because we value our people. We invest in them and we help support them. So why do we obsess so much over matching the right VAs to the right clients? It's because we want to make sure these people are valued, as well as also our clients are valued, because they do matter and we're making a difference in their lives. And that's something that really just excites me, is that we help the small businesses here in America to find really good talent, but then also we find people who don't have an opportunity to find an opportunity, and also to find hope for a better life for them and their family. So is working with me improving people's lives? 100%. We improve the lives of the businesses that we work with, our clients, but also the people that are in another part of the world. Look, culture is built on genuine care, not on slogans. I've got slogans. I've got different, core values that we say that we live by, but really is built on, genuinely caring for other people. So look, if you want a team that brings commitment and also heart, hey, let's pair up. This is something that appeals to you, then hey, let's get connected to see if we can find the right assistant for you.